The following segment is sponsored by Portland Rescue Mission.
Welcome back. There is a live look outside from the Oregon coast. A beautiful view there from our Inn at Spanish Head Resort Hotel camera in Lincoln City. Thanks for watching Afternoon Live. The Portland Rescue Mission is there to help men and women shed their addictions and start a new life. Let's meet Chad and Israel, a part of the sober and thriving Hood to Coast team who found the Portland Rescue Mission at their lowest points and received a second chance.
Running has become like a mental relief for me. It's become physical training, which is challenging and also just helps me stay focused on a goal and giving back to others as well.
Running for me, I reflect a lot from where I used to be to now. It's a mental thing that challenges me. The finishing goal is just actually doing it, and didn't think I would be able to do something now. Like always running away from my problems, I don't have to do that anymore. So running, just a lot of reflection in there.
Growing up, there was a lot of relational trauma. There was a lot of separation from my parents. There wasn't a lot of emotional support, so probably a little bit of neglect. There was also divorce at a very young age. I was about 7 when my parents divorced, and that can be very shattering to a family.
Parents were together, but my dad spent most of his time working or drinking. So when they got divorced, when I was like 19, that's when all the trauma happened for me. And that's when I went down swirled into alcohol, got introduced to meth, and it was just a way to cope with all that brokenness that I was going through, because I felt like I was being lied my whole life with them being together. I
found myself looking for comfort in other things besides people or my parents, so that's when I started experimenting with drugs and alcohol.
The first time I had a drink of alcohol was, I would say 6th grade, 12, 13 years old with my dad.
I was probably 10 when I used marijuana for the first time, alcohol around the same age, and then became recreationally using it regularly, probably 13.
Going to jail just got me deeper into, so where I'm come from, there's a lot of gangs. That's where I just felt, not where I felt I belonged, that's where I wanted to belong, because I was getting that love there. So going to jail just made me more and more draw me towards that gang life.
So I was in and out of jail from like 28 to 30 in Hermiston, Oregon. And then I was in jail in Umatilla County Jail. And I finally just kind of came to terms with like I needed change in my life. I admitted that I had a problem, I needed a new direction. Portland Rescue Mission was the only people accepting inpatient treatment program participants. And so it was the only door open for me while I was in jail. And the counselor and I got the application, filled it out, and I applied. And about 30 days later, Portland Rescue Mission employees actually drove to Eastern Oregon to pick me up straight from jail and drive me over to the program. It just shows the grace, the compassion, that someone would take the time out of their day to give someone like me a chance. And so that's kind of what I try to give back now, is giving people the benefit of the doubt, giving people chances, taking risks, because people's lives are worth the risk.
2021, my grandpa passed away, and I was in the middle of my addiction. The worst part, I was an IV user. But before he passed, he always mentioned, Israel, if you want to change, you need God. I was down and out, staying in my car, dealing drugs in another state, because I was from Eastern Washington, staying in Eastern Oregon. So my family would go months without knowing where I was at times. So that last time I went to jail, I was at my lowest, didn't have nothing. The clothes that I went to jail with, my kids were with me, they were with family members. So sitting in jail, hearing my grandpa's voice saying, Israel, you need God, that was like my turning point for me.
When I first went through the program, I kind of joked and said, you know, it'd be kind of cool to work here. And so a couple years later, I have the opportunity to come back and work for Portland Rescue Mission. And to make that transition, it really gives me a sense of purpose, and I find joy in being able to give back what I've been given, which is a life sober and thriving and in recovery.
It was overwhelming, something not used to, since the lifestyle I was living was the opposite of what the Harbor provides, which is love, grace, compassion, kindness. All this stuff that I was living was the opposite of.
Well, so we were in Umatilla County Jail when we first met. We didn't really meet each other, but we kind of met in passing.
My dad picked me up at jail, took me to the harbor, and Chad was the one that opened the door for me at the Portland Rescue Mission. And that for me was a God moment.
I go out the front door and there's Israel with his dad. And I was like, I remember you from jail, I think. He's like, yeah, your brother told me about this place and that you were here. So it was definitely not a coincidence. Sober and Thriving is our Portland Rescue Mission Hood to Coast team, where we are raising funds and running for a purpose. We are raising funds to help with our supportive programs, shelter, meals, to men and women in great need in Portland, Oregon. Well, Israel's my best friend, and I know he likes running, and we've been training together for another race. And I just was like, hey, we have open spots. Do you want to raise some money and come run Hood to Coast with us?
This is my first year, so what I'm excited about is running to help them raise money to give back to the Portland Rescue Mission, and also show people with that there's a way, there's a better life. We met in jail, crossing paths, so be able to do this in a positive way and tell people there's a way to do things in life and recovery.
We're all running a race, and this race, this life of recovery, this life sober and thriving, is like a race. So we need our time to ourselves and solitude, but we also need community and camaraderie. So we work together to reach the goal, but we do our own part individually to be part of that team. When I see people change and I see people take a hold of our Portland Rescue Mission's hand and let us walk with them at a pace they can sustain, I see a life transformed right before my eyes, and it brings me immense joy.
Here to share more about Chad and Israel, we welcome back from the Portland Rescue Mission, Leah Hay. Oh my gosh, how inspiring are those guys?
Yeah, they're really incredible guys.
So they cross paths in jail,
Yeah.
they become very bonded in recovery, and
Yeah.
that bond really continues on forever, I understand.
Yeah, they are as close as brothers from what I hear from Chad. And what has also happened after graduation is that Israel has gotten married, he's had a baby, and he has asked Chad to be his godparent.
Oh.
So they are like family, and that's super touching to me because, you know, we heard them talk about their loneliness and their isolation earlier in their lives, and then they experienced love and acceptance and
Yeah.
grace from, you know, so many people that surrounded them, and now that cup overflows not only to each other but to so many more people.
Yeah.
I know that Israel leads a Celebrate Recovery group, and you know, Chad works with us now at Portland Rescue Mission, so they're full of joy, and they're so grateful for the opportunity
Yeah.
to share that with others.
And giving back in such monumental ways.
Yeah.
Hood to Coast is a big challenge for anybody. A lot of the runners on this team are taking this on for the first time.
Yeah, well, you know, I know that Israel is. Chad has been a runner for a little while now, but fitness is part of the recovery journey. You know, we really do talk about whole person health, right, with emotional, spiritual, physical. And so it really, running is a good parallel with recovery, you know, setting a goal, working through your pain. These are all things that they learn in the program, you know, supporting each other, coming together to accomplish a goal.
And how great to experience a relay where you do have a team and you're cheering each other on.
Yeah.
And let's touch back again on how important this fundraising aspect is, because these guys are going out on their own to raise more money to hopefully provide more services to people coming after them.
Right. I mean, they are leading other men in their lives as we speak, wanting them to have the same kind of success that they personally received, right? And so their fundraising is coming from a very personal conviction of wanting to see more people succeed in their recovery and find a full, meaningful life, so that there's the ripple effect, right? So that they too can go out and serve others and give back. So their goal of $50,000 will accomplish that. Will open up more opportunities for more people to get through their recovery and to give back.
So inspiring what they've accomplished already, and that they continue to challenge themselves and find ways to open doors for more people.
Yeah.
We so appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you, Hannah.
Wishing everyone the best of luck this weekend. Okay, help support the members of Sober and Thriving. Raise $50,000 to help men, women, and children facing homelessness and battling addiction. To learn more about Portland Rescue Mission's Sober and Thriving team and how you can help their efforts, head to our website at KATU.com/AFL. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.